Jerusalem, Jerusalem, one can still celebrate Holy Mass looking down on the Holy City from the Dominus Flevit, seeing what the Lord would have seen as he wept, Flevit, over the Holy City. Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, it's etymologically vision of peace. Hence his comment that it did not know what pertained to its peace. It did not know the hour of its visitation. My friends, maybe he's saying the same to us today. Jerusalem being the temple of our soul. Take these things out of here, he says, with regard to the temple. He wants that there should be a certain serenity in the house of God. That applies to our soul as well. And in the first reading we have precisely some of the things that take away that peace. Passion, leading to impure acts. But already passion disturbs. Passion can actually be dominant in some souls, souls that are not in control, but are controlled by them. The reason then is no longer in command. In our day, the problem has become heightened by the fact that the reason is no longer in control in a great chunk of civilized man, so-called, because also man is now exposed to things that weaken the mind. Alcohol, various forms of drugs, so-called soft, which are very common, and hard. The will is made weak, endangers the soul, and also any situation close to that soul. We priests have to unravel the mess, often, in marriages. Other things too take over. A big one now, but a hidden one, is gambling. And it can take many forms. It can actually be even a sophisticated form, with big money involved. It leads then to distrust, lying, concealing, and then, because money suddenly disappears in great quantities, things going on the rock. I can't live with this man anymore. But there are things actually very close to us with regard to passion and its consequences. Right now, if one looks carefully, there is an ever-increasing threshold of tolerance with regard to the way that people dress. And so one can do what the devil wants by engaging with that, with one's eyes. One can also make it even worse by, in the privacy of one's solitude, going into other people's stuff. And that can happen also in marriage, leading then to mistrust within the marriage. And then one can get a situation where the will, the reason is so weakened that it can do no more against the power of passion, and it can destroy marriage. There are many now who come into marriage completely contaminated by addictions of this sort, so that the wife is but another, because he's used to looking at all kinds of things, and it might not stop on their wedding day, despite any vows made. You think the wife doesn't pick things up? Mistrust. One can count almost on the fingers of one hand truly serene marriages where all this stuff is not present. And any girls or boys for that matter in this assembly who are thinking of finding a partner, pray on these things. Don't follow passion. It's not a good guide. The Lord knows who is good for us in marriage. Let him have a word Also, use your guardian angel who can travel around and bump into other guardian angels and whisper a word. My house shall be a house of prayer. When we are in prayer, this stuff can actually come back to us and mess up our prayer as well. The Desert Fathers knew it too well. But it could be also a ploy on behalf of the other guy to keep us from prayer. So we don't yield to that, we stay with it, no matter what's trying to get into our head. Because when we're in prayer, we become truly a temple of God, and the forgotten Lord finds consolation. And I mean here, by prayer, not merely words, I mean encounter. I mean time, when He is actually in control, when He is given space. And words can exclude space. So prayer means taking the risk of having no barrier in the form of a structure for a while, to head on have this collision with the love that made us. But there is more. This visitation of the Lord, it can come both through inspirations coming in prayer, and we can push them away, but they can come also through our openness to what the Lord might be trying to say in the event. For if we are not present at the visitation, we will miss important moments, solicitations, invitations, and also inspirations. We need to be like musical instruments that the Holy Spirit can play just by a touch, responding to His every touch. There is a key. It's to have a certain structure. Because if there's no structure in the course of the 24 hours, the chances are that we will not have those spaces. A big one is the hour of rising. Why? Those moments before other things happen are the best of all. Why? The body is calm, it's empty, the mind is free of worry, the heart is beating slowly, and if one also makes the effort, there is more peace outside when nature is calm, early, very early. And then, whatever happens in the rest of the 24 hours, one risks having a well-spent day, far more profound when one has had a long encounter with Him than if one starts with the work that is pressing. It makes a difference, because over the course of life, we will have gained merit in one case and lived in intimacy, whereas in the other, we will be always fighting against the clock and imprisoned in someone else's structure, which, by the way, we can make unnecessarily through too much engagement with virtuality on screens. And so, I'd like to share with you one thing which hit me greatly when eventually I came back to Ireland and was asked by the superiors there at Kilnacrot to keep guard over the Blessed Sacrament. It hit me there. The obligation to be given henceforth to have the whole hour every day before the Blessed Sacrament exposed was a massive blessing forevermore. The power in the hour. Just looking at Him eye to eye, picking up what He was saying, relativizing the external and seeing what mattered in the day, it was a different ball game altogether. Thomas Burton talks about active contemplation. Things have to be done. But contemplation is the bottom line. And that means looking at, contemplare, gazing at. And before the Blessed Sacrament, one gazes at essential love, which then makes us loving towards those that the Lord sends us. Compare that with a person who is stressed, always in a hurry, hasn't got time, and is agitated. It's a waste of the gift of 24 hours. So I leave you with this secret, my friends. We're only here once. Start the day well. Don't take on things that no one has asked you to take on, and don't engage with what is soliciting your passions. Be free, claim your liberty, and pray that liberty will come if you are right now engaged to some habit which is controlling you. Because if not, life will go by in bondage. Let us live freely, calmly, lovingly, and then at the end we will have done what was asked of us and not